You remember the stars. Not just some fuzzy memory, but the sharp, clear diamonds against the velvet blackness of a perfectly still night. You were just watching them, lost in the quiet awe, like countless times before. Then came the smell. Ozone, acrid and metallic, thick enough to taste. A shocking jolt like a lightning strike had landed right on your tongue. The ground didn't just shake, it bucked. A sickening heave that twisted your stomach and rattled every bone. A blinding flash, then an immediate, absolute dark. And now, this. Cold, unyielding metal bites deep into your wrists and ankles, digging into the tender flesh as you instinctively strain against the restraints. They hold fast, too tight, a constant, grinding pressure. A low, persistent hum vibrates through the floor. A constant, unsettling drone that drills its way into your skull, setting off a fresh wave of throbbing pain. You can taste it, coppery and warm, the unmistakable tang of your own blood on your tongue. The air itself feels wrong. Thin, dry, heavy, with a faint, sickly sweet chemical scent. A cloying tang that makes your stomach clench and your throat tighten with a nascent gag reflex. You blink, again and again, trying to force your eyes to focus through the haze of pain and disorientation. Everything's a blur of dull, featureless gray, and faint, pulsing light. Your vision swims, then, slowly, agonizingly, steadies enough for you to make out shapes. Walls. A ceiling. All impossibly smooth. Seamless. No joins, no cracks, no familiar signs of human construction. This isn't Earth. Not even close. Panic, cold and sharp, tries to claw its way up your throat, threatening to consume you. But something deep inside, a primal spark, chokes it down. No offense. Not yet. Not while you're still breathing. A soft hiss, barely audible over the hum, and a panel slides open on the far wall. Light, harsh and sudden, spears into your eyes, forcing a wince and a gasp. A figure steps through the brilliant glare. Tall, impossibly tall, dwarfing the doorway. And definitely, unequivocally, not human. Its form is mostly indistinct in the blinding light, but you catch a fleeting glimpse of something hard, angular, segmented, like armor or an exoskeleton. Its voice, when it speaks, is a series of clicks and guttural rumbles, an alien symphony that somehow, chillingly, resonates directly in your mind. It's not through your ears, but directly inside your head, a cold, invasive presence that makes your skin crawl. Subject designated 7ALPHA9. Status: awakened. Initial biometric scan complete. Your breath hitches, snagging painfully in your chest. NIDE. Subject: ALPHA9. Your name isn't ALPHA9. You try to shout, to demand answers, but only a dry, desperate rasp escapes your parched throat. You struggle harder against the bonds. A renewed surge of adrenaline pumping through your veins, the unyielding metal biting deeper still into your raw skin. What do you want with me? You manage to croak, the words feeling utterly foreign in this sterile alien air. The creature tilts its head, a movement that seems unsettlingly precise, unnervingly insect-like. Its eyes, or what you assume are eyes, glow with a faint, predatory light, studying you with an intensity that feels like a probe. Observation. Assimilation of data. You are a specimen. A biological anomaly of interest. A specimen. A biological anomaly. The words hit you like a physical blow, colder and harder than any metal. You're not a person to them. You're just a thing. Something to be catalogued, poked and prodded, discarded. The fear, for a fleeting moment, is replaced by a surge of pure, unadulterated rage, hot and unexpected, burning away the last vestiges of confusion. You are not a specimen. You are human. And you remember the stars. You remember the feeling of breathing free, crisp air, the rough touch of grass beneath your bare feet, the glorious warmth of the sun on your skin. A sudden, gut-wrenching lurch. The constant grinding hum that had been your only companion in this sterile prison abruptly vanishes. Just gone. An absolute, crushing silence replaces it. A silence so deep it feels like a physical presence, pressing in on your eardrums, making them ache. Your stomach drops, a sickening freefall, but your body doesn't follow. Instead, you're floating, weightless. The cold, raw indentations on your wrists are still there, phantom aches, but the restraints themselves are gone, or rather, they weren't needed anymore. You drift, disoriented, a puppet with severed strings, your limbs flailing uselessly in the dim light. Every beat of your own heart echoes in your ears, impossibly loud, a frantic drum against the alien quiet. You can hear your own ragged breathing, a desperate, shallow gasp for air that feels too thin, too recycled. Suddenly, a section of the wall before you shimmers, then dissolves into a vast, inky blackness. It's not just dark, it's Asterix void. And scattered across that infinite canvas, countless pinpricks of light, sharp and unwavering. Stars. Billions of them. But not the soft, comforting stars you remember from Earth. These are fierce, cold, utterly indifferent. You're looking out into pure, unadulterated space. The true, terrifying silence of the cosmos washes over you, deeper than anything you've ever known. A profound quiet that steals your breath, threatening to suck the very sound from your lungs. This isn't just a prison cell, this is a ship, and you are light years from home, trapped between the crushing silence of the void and whatever the hell that alien wants. A deep, resonant thrum suddenly shudders through your body, vibrating in your teeth, not a sound you hear with your ears, but a frequency you feel. The alien from before materializes in the chamber, its tall, segmented form silhouetted against the star-flecked void. It floats effortlessly, perfectly balanced, completely at home in this alien environment. Its glowing eyes fix on you, and that invasive mental voice echoes in your head, cutting through the vast silence. Observe. Subject 7ALPHA9. This is your new reality. The expanse. Your former home. A distant, insignificant speck. It gestures with an unnaturally long digit towards one of the stars. A cold, clinical dismissal. You are now part of a grander design. A distant, insignificant speck. The words sting. Trying to diminish everything you are, everything you loved, into nothing. But as you look out at the impossible beauty, the terrifying scale of it all, something else sparks inside you. A defiance, pure and hot, against the crushing cold of the void, against the alien's casual dismissal. You're floating, helpless, a tiny speck against the vastness, but your heart still beats its frantic rhythm. And that rhythm is asterisk yours. You push off a nearby wall, awkwardly, flailing a bit as you propel yourself towards the alien, not with any hope of attack, but just to get spam closer, to be heard, to make a point. My home isn't a speck, you rasp. Your voice surprisingly loud in the absolute quiet, tearing at the oppressive silence. It's everything. And you have no idea what it means to mess with everything. The alien pauses, its glowing gaze unwavering, processing your illogical, passionate outburst. You drift to a stop a few feet from its intimidating form, heart still pounding, your human breath loud in the silence. Out there, the universe stretches on, boundless, indifferent. But in here, in this tiny, metal box, against all odds, you still have a voice. And that voice, even a whisper, can shatter the deepest silence. The hum returns, not the low, persistent drone from before, but a different kind, higher-pitched, almost a whine, vibrating directly in your chest. It's accompanied by a disorienting sense of movement, a smooth, almost imperceptible glide through air that feels suddenly thicker, warmer. You're not floating anymore. Your bare back presses against a surface that feels organic. It's firm, cool, and oddly yielding, like dense muscle wrapped in something impossibly smooth, yet subtly textured, almost like microscopic scales. You try to push up, to turn, but invisible forces hold you down, not restraints this time, but a pervasive, soft pressure that cradles you, immobilizing you without pain. Just utter, helpless stillness. The light in this new chamber is softer, a pearlescent glow that emanates from the walls themselves, casting no shadows. It's less aggressive than the previous harsh glare, but somehow more unnerving, bathing everything in an ethereal, otherworldly sheen. And then it's there, directly above you. The alien. No longer a silhouette against the void, but close, unnervingly close, its full form illuminated. Its skin. That's what catches you. It's not armor. It's living tissue, an iridescent obsidian, shifting with 1,000 subtle hues you can't quite name. Deep blues, purples, greens, all swirling beneath a surface that gleams like polished obsidian, smooth and impossibly hard. It reflects the pearlescent light like liquid mercury, distorting your own faint reflection into something alien and grotesque. One of its elongated digits extends, hovering inches from your face, almost delicate despite its formidable appearance. You can hear a faint clicking, like microscopic gears grinding as it processes you. Its mental voice, when it finally comes, is closer now, more intrusive, a cold whisper directly behind your eyes. Fascinating. Your epidermal layer. So permeable, yet resilient. Our initial scans indicated a surprising density for such a thin, pliable sheath. You flinch, not from pain, but from the invasion, the casual dissection of your very being. Your heart hammers against the strange, yielding surface beneath you. You can feel its gaze, the physical weight, tracing the contours of your skin, cataloging every pore, every scar, every birthmark. It's not looking at *U. It's looking through you at the biological machinery underneath. Get out of my head, you grit out, the words feeling futile, small against its invasive presence. The alien's head cants again, that unsettling, precise movement. Resistance to neural interface is unexpected. Most lesser species experience immediate neurological compliance. Your species exhibits unusual synaptic recalcitrance. Its digit, tipped with what looks like a tiny needle-like probe, slowly descends, slowly, inexorably, towards your bare forearm. You tense, every muscle screaming defiance, but the soft pressure holds you fast. You close your eyes, bracing for the sting, the violation. But the probe doesn't pierce. Instead, it touches down, a feather-light tap against your skin. You expect cold or a sharp prick. What you feel is warmth, a slow, spreading heat, not unpleasant, but alien, seeping into your arm. The probe isn't metallic. It's made of the same impossible gleaming obsidian as the creature's skin, a continuity that makes your stomach churn. It's studying you, not with force, but with a horrifying patient curiosity. Your skin, the most basic barrier, the line between you and not you, is being probed, analyzed, understood in ways you can't even fathom. You clench your fists, wishing you could rip free, wishing you could just feel the reassuring bite of cold metal, rather than this insidious, knowing warmth. But then, as the probe retracts, a flicker of something new crosses the alien's face, a subtle shift in the light within its eyes. Not surprise, exactly, but something close, something intrigued. The warmth from the alien probe vanishes, but something else replaces it, something far more invasive. A cold, hard presence blooms behind your eyes. Not a voice, but a sudden, overwhelming torrent of raw, alien sensation. It's like 1,000,000 different images, sounds, and concepts are being poured directly into your brain, all at once. You see nebula swirling, not through a window, but as if you are the gas and dust. You hear frequencies that vibrate through bone, but have no source. You feel calculations, pure, abstract logic, cold and perfect, yet utterly devoid of meaning to you. It's too much. Your head explodes with a pain that isn't physical, but mental, a screeching overload of data. You gasp, a choked sound, your vision blurring, your hands flying up uselessly to claw at your temples, as if you could physically scrape the alien invasion from your skull. Data stream initiated. Subject 7, ALPHA9, neural net engaging. The mental voice is no longer a distinct statement. It's just another thread in the impossible tapestry of alien thought currently assaulting your mind. You try to push back, to build a wall, anything to stem the tide. You picture brick walls, concrete, steel doors, anything solid, intimately human to protect your thoughts. But the alien presence just flows around it, through it, like water. It doesn't understand resistance in that way. It just S's. You get flashes, fragments of its life, vast, cold spaces, complex, geometrical structures built from light and will. A sense of collective purpose so immense and ancient, it makes your own individuality feel like a tiny, fragile spark. It perceives time differently, not as a linear progression, but as a shimmering, accessible tapestry, past, present, and future all coexisting. It doesn't feel emotions like you do. Not joy, not sorrow, not anger, just analysis, optimization, order. And then, it hits a wall. Not a wall you built, but something inherent. It brushes against memories of laughter, the smell of rain on hot asphalt, the warmth of another human's hand in yours. It tries to categorize them, to process them, but they just echo. They don't fit its logical frameworks. They are chaotic, illogical, human. You can feel a tremor in its mental presence, not panic, but a ripple of profound, unexpected disorientation. It's like trying to parse a complex algorithm and finding a spontaneous, beautiful, utterly unpredictable jazz solo instead. Unstructured, inefficient, high-amplitude emotional variables, anomalous. The mental voice is fragmented now, punctuated by what feels like its own internal struggle to compute. It's trying to map your mind, to find the patterns, but your human messiness, your vibrant, unpredictable chaos, is throwing off its pristine calculations. You can feel its attempts to impose order, to smooth out the jagged edges of your thoughts, to filter the anomalies. But you refuse. Your mind is yours. It's not a database for it to sort. You focus on the chaos, on the sheer, glorious, illogical beauty of what it can't understand. You think of every ridiculous, embarrassing, joyful, sorrowful, maddeningly human moment you've ever experienced. You push them forward, a messy, beautiful, undefinable storm of humanity. You feel a sudden, jarring withdrawal, like a static shock. The immense, invasive presence shrinks, retreating rapidly from the internal storm. Unexpected mental resistance, data corruption, acknowledged. The mental voice is strained, distant now, almost a whisper as the pressure behind your eyes eases. You gasp for breath, blinking rapidly, the world slowly solidifying around you. The alien hovers, its obsidian surface seeming less confident now, its glowing eyes holding something new, a flicker of respect? Or perhaps just a deeper, colder calculation. They might have stolen your body, dragged you across the stars, but your mind? That's still yours, and the alien just got a taste of what that means. The first thing you register is the taste. Mellow, earthy ale, sliding down your throat, warm and slightly bitter, the kind of honest bitterness that finishes a long day. You swallow, feeling the familiar burn, the soothing warmth spreading through your chest. The air is thick with the scent of wood smoke, roasting meat, and 100 unwashed bodies packed close in a busy tavern. Laughter rings out, loud and boisterous, mingling with the clatter of tankards and the mournful groan of a lute. You slump back on a rickety wooden bench, your back aching pleasurably, the rough-hewn timber digging into your spine just enough to feel real. You're home. Safe. Then, the aftertaste. Not the lingering, pleasant bitterness of the hops. Something sharp, metallic, acrid, like ozone, like the first smell you registered when they took you. It coats your tongue, burning away the illusion of ale, of smoke, of human warmth. Your stomach clenches, not from the drink, but from a sudden, cold dread. Your eyes snap open, wide and unblinking, suddenly seeing the details you'd been so eager to accept. The laughter. It's too loud, too constant, like a recording, looping just a fraction too perfectly. The flickering fire in the hearth casts shadows that don't quite dance right. Their movements stilted, unnatural. You reach out, your fingers brushing against the scarred surface of the wooden table. It feels solid, real, but there's a strange, almost imperceptible smoothness beneath the texture, an artificial perfection that belies the rough craftsmanship. Your hand twitches back, a primal shiver tracing its way up your arm. A burly man with a booming laugh claps you on the shoulder. His smile is wide, his eyes crinkling at the corners in a convincing display of camaraderie. "Another pint, friend? You look like you've seen a ghost," he bellows, his voice echoing just a little too sharply in your head, a subtle distortion that makes the hair on your neck stand on end. His breath, the faint smell of stale ale and onions, feels almost too specific, a detail rendered with painstaking, yet ultimately hollow, precision. You recoil slightly, pulling away from his touch. The pressure of his hand against your shoulder felt simulated, like a phantom limb, a sensation you know but that isn't truly there. You stare at him, at his too bright eyes, at the way his smile stays plastered on his face a beat too long. No, you choke out, your voice rough, the metallic tang in your mouth overpowering everything. "No, I haven't seen a ghost. I've just seen a lie." The alien's mental voice, cold and clinical, slices through the simulated merriment, shattering the illusion like brittle glass. Subject 7, ALPHA9, exhibits persistent anomalous rejection, comfort, simulation, integrity, compromised. Reasoning, unknown. The tavern, the laughter, the warmth, it all flickers, a momentary glitch in your perception, like a bad connection, before snapping back into place. But now you know, it's all a construct, a beautifully crafted cage for your mind. The villager's smile falters for a microsecond, a tiny, almost imperceptible hitch, before reforming, just as wide, just as hollow. "A lie, you say?" What could be a lie, friend, in a fine ale and good company? But the question feels like a program running, not a person speaking. Your gaze sweeps the room, seeing now the subtle, horrifying perfection in every detail, the way the dust motes catch the light just so, the precise stain on a peasant's tunic, the identical flicker in every candle flame. It's too flawless, too predictable. A fresh wave of rage, cold and clear, replaces the fear. They tried to pacify you with an illusion, to trick you into accepting a fake reality. They underestimated the human instinct to sniff out the false, to reject anything that isn't truly real. You stand, abruptly, pushing the wooden bench back with a screech that cuts through the artificial din. The ale, or what you thought was ale, spat onto the impossibly clean floor with a dull, flat splat. For a split second, the boisterous tavern laughter didn't stop. It just faltered. A micropause. A discordant note, like a record skipping just a hair. Then, a sudden, absolute quiet descended. Far heavier, far more chilling than the vacuum of space. You feel it press in, a physical weight, the palpable force of 100 pairs of eyes, all fixed, unblinking, on you. Every single villager, frozen in mid-gesture, in mid-sip, in mid-smile, their faces locked in expressions that no longer felt warm or welcoming. They are just staring. Your heart thunders in your chest, a frantic drum against the sudden, unnatural silence. The hair on your arms prickles, a primal instinct screaming a Sidneyne danger. But it's a different kind of danger now. Not the threat of physical harm, but the terrifying feeling of being utterly, completely exposed. An exhibit. You feel like a specimen under a microscope. Every twitch, every shallow breath, every flicker of defiance meticulously observed, catalogued, analyzed. The wood smoke still drifts. The loot still lies forgotten on a table, but all warmth, all illusion of life, has been leached from the scene. It's a tableau, perfectly rendered, perfectly dead. Subject 7, ALPHA9, exhibits aggressive rejection of control subroutine. The alien's mental voice echoes in your head, cold and precise, cutting through the crushing silence. Behavioral anomalies increasing. Evaluating source. You stand your ground, defiant, even as a tremor runs through your hands. The weight of their stares, those empty, programmed eyes, feels immense, pressing down, trying to crush you with their sheer, unyielding observation. You can almost feel the aliens' gaze, dissecting your defiance, trying to find the logical flaw, the predictable pattern it can exploit. But you are human. You are the unpredictable pattern. You meet the gaze of the burly villager who'd offered you the fake ale. His smile is still there, stretched tight, but his eyes now hold a disturbing blankness, a digital void where human warmth should be. What are you looking for? You challenge, your voice ragged but steady, echoing unnervingly in the quiet room. A weakness? A button to push? Good luck with that. You sweep your gaze across the frozen faces, a surge of adrenaline burning through your veins. They look back, unmoving, a silent, unblinking jury. You're not just seeing the villagers anymore. You're seeing the alien itself, reflected in their eyes, trying to understand you through 1,000 manufactured lenses. A faint hum, a subtle shift in the air, indicates the alien's presence is closer. The mental voice returns, laced with something that almost sounds like curiosity. Your species relies on deception for survival, yet you reject it when it offers comfort. A paradoxical behavioral loop. It's not comfort if it's a lie, you retort, your voice gaining strength, the sheer frustration lending it power. It's just another prison. And I already told you, I'm not a specimen, I'm not a loop, I'm a person. You feel a fierce, unyielding pride well up, a shield against the oppressive weight of their stares. They can look, they can analyze, they can try to categorize. But they can't, for different semem stere you. They can't understand the raw, stubborn truth of a human soul. You are a living, breathing paradox to them, and that, you realize, is your greatest weapon. They can simulate everything, but they can't simulate defiance. And they can't simulate the messy, beautiful, dangerous reality of a human being. A searing, colorless light ignites behind your eyes. Not just bright, but cold. It's a pure, piercing white, so intense it doesn't just illuminate, it feels like it's physically reaching inside your skull, gripping your brain. You gasp, a choked, desperate sound, your hands flying up automatically to shield your face, but it's no use. The light penetrates your eyelids, burns through bone and flesh, flooding your entire perception. Your head pounds, a rhythmic, agonizing throb, each beat amplifying the brutal brilliance. It's not just visual, it's a full-body assault, a vibrational frequency that resonates through your bones, making your teeth ache and your skin crawl with 1,000 invisible needles. You fall. Or rather, the soft cradling pressure that held you in the simulation chamber vanishes, plunging you into weightlessness. But instead of the silent void from before, this chamber is filled with the relentless, unyielding light. The only sound, the frantic thrum of your own heart trying to beat its way out of your chest. You thrash, disoriented, trying to find a solid surface, a direction, anything to ground you, but there's nothing. Just the blinding, cold white everywhere, consuming all perspective, all sense of up or down. Your eyes stream tears you can't feel, hot on your face, stinging but offering no relief from the glare. The alien's mental voice cuts through the agony, sharper now, more insistent, yet still utterly devoid of empathy. Subject 7, ALPHA 9, Phase 4, initiated. Neural oscillation data acquisition. Resistance is counterproductive. Calibration at optimal parameters. Optimal parameters? This feels like torture. Pure, unadulterated sensory overload designed to break something deep inside you. You scream, or try to, but the sound is swallowed by the silence, by the light. Your throat is raw, your lungs burning for air that doesn't feel like it's being siphoned away by the overwhelming white. You curl into a fetal position, instinctively trying to make yourself smaller, less accessible, to escape the invasive light. But it's everywhere. It feels like it's flowing cells into you, trying to fill every empty space, to overwrite your thoughts, your very being. Then, a flicker, not in the light itself, but in your own vision. A persistent afterimage, a faint, mottled darkness against the endless white. Your mind, desperate for purchase, for anything familiar, latches onto it. It's the residual imprint of something you saw just before the light hit, a dark panel, a shadow. You cling to it, focusing with every fiber of your being, trying to expand that tiny sliver of darkness to make it real. It's a trick your brain plays, a phantom, but right now, it's all you have. The alien observes, its presence a cold analytical weight in your mind. Subject 7 ALPHA9 exhibits persistent optic nerve activity despite full spectrum saturation. Biological anomaly. Anomaly. That word again. You push back against the light, not with physical strength, but with sheer stubborn will. You focus on that phantom shadow, trying to sculpt it, to give it form, to make it a refuge. You remember the sun, warm on your eyelids, the soft darkness when you close your eyes at night. You conjure it, willing it into existence, a small, stubborn ember of asterisk your reality against their artificial hell. The pain is still there, blinding, debilitating, but now, a tiny, defiant seed of hope takes root. They can bombard you with light, try to strip you of your senses, but they can't take your ability to remember darkness, to carve out a mental space where they don't exist. Not yet. Not while your mind still fights. The cold light abates, not gradually, but with a sudden, painful snap, leaving behind a ghost image burned onto your retinas, a phantom white rectangle against a swirling, sickening gray. The profound silence that follows is even more jarring than the light, a ringing emptiness that makes your ears ache. You cough, a dry, rasping sound, your throat raw. Slowly, painstakingly, your vision clears. You're no longer in the endless white. You're back in a chamber of gleaming, obsidian-like material. Just a single, pulsing red light in the far corner offering the only variation from the seamless black. Then, you hear it. Not with your ears, but deep within the vibrating core of your skull. A sound like 1,000 whispers. A symphony of frequencies you can't quite parse, yet inherently understand. It's the sound of distance, of speed, of something vast and powerful accelerating away. You feel a subtle yet undeniable pressure against your back. The soft, yielding material from before, but this time, it's not cradling you. It's anchoring you, pushing you deeper into its surface as the vessel around you. No, the ship surges forward. The alien's mental presence returns, quieter now, almost contemplative. Data acquisition complete. Your species demonstrates an unusual capacity for neural resilience under extreme sensory input. The memory function, even when deprived of external stimuli, remains potent. Fascinating. It pauses, and you feel a strange sense of something like decision being made in its alien mind. Phase 5 initiated. Long-range transit. Your planet is no longer within perceptible range. You are alone. Alone. The word hits you, a cold, hard stone in your gut, resonating with the very sound of this accelerating silence. Your world, the one with laughter and sunlight and rain, is gone. A distant, unreachable memory. The whispers in your skull intensify. A chorus of farewells, each frequency a little more detached, a little further away, until the thought of Earth itself becomes a fading echo against the overwhelming, indifferent roar of the void. You are a single, fragile life, hurtling through impossible distances, leaving everything you know behind. A profound, aching loneliness washes over you, deeper than any physical pain you've experienced. It's the raw, stripped bare grief of severance, of a connection broken, possibly forever. You curl your fingers, trying to grasp onto something, anything, but there's only the cold, smooth surface beneath you. You close your eyes, trying to conjure the image of home, but even that feels strained, the edges blurring against the magnitude of this new, terrifying reality. Your emotional variables are registering at extreme amplitude, the alien notes. Its voice a clinical drone against your inner turmoil. Analysis indicates a state of despair. This is an inefficient expenditure of biological resources. Recommendation: cessation. Cessation. They want you to stop feeling, to shut down. to surrender to the crushing isolation. But as that word echoes, something shifts within you. A tiny, fierce spark, ignited by the very depth of your despair. Inefficient? You remember the fierce, illogical joy of a perfect sunrise, the warmth of a friend's hand, the burning, righteous anger when something was truly wrong. Those weren't inefficiencies. They were what made you you. They were what made you human truly. You open your eyes, staring into the seamless blackness of the chamber. Not at the alien's form, but at the idea of it. You think despair is inefficient? You whisper, your voice a defiant tremor against the rushing sound of distance. You haven't seen what despair can forge. You haven't seen what a human does when everything's taken away. You think I'm alone? You just gave me the biggest reason in the universe to come home. And nothing, not even this God-forsaken void, is going to stop me. The sound of your world being left behind. The hum is back. Not the gut-wrenching lurch, not the silent void, not the punishing white light. This one is different. Deeper, constant, a low, persistent thrum that vibrates in your teeth. Not a sound heard, but a vibration felt deep in your bones. It's like being inside a giant purring machine, yet it's not comforting. It's the sterile hum of something perpetually, perfectly operational, and utterly devoid of life. The air is still, scentless, impossibly clean. Too clean. Like a hospital operating room, but on an astronomical scale. You're suspended again, not restrained, but held gently by an unseen force, your body perfectly horizontal. Above you, the ceiling is a smooth, luminous curve, glowing with a soft, uniform white light that casts no shadows. The walls, the floor, everything is seamless, pristine, a continuation of that unsettling curve. It feels like you're inside some vast, artificial egg, a perfect, unchanging enclosure. A womb, but a lifeless one, humming with cold, indifferent efficiency. A sense of profound emptiness settles over you. A crushing realization of just how utterly removed you are from anything natural. No sun, no wind, no dirt under your nails. Just this constant hum, this perfect white, this artificial stillness. Your throat feels tight, a dry ache spreading through your chest. You try to move your hand, slowly, testing the invisible pressure. It yields, smoothly, allowing your arm to rise, then gently guides it back down, as if you're a toy being placed back in its box. The control isn't aggressive, it's just absolute. The alien's mental voice, detached and analytical, enters your mind, blending with the hum, becoming part of the sterile environment. Subject 7, ALPHA9. Phase 5, BIOCONTAINMENT, for transit. Optimal conditions for cellular stability maintained. Analyzing reaction to prolonged isolation. Biocontainment. That's what this is. You're a biological sample, carefully preserved. The thought makes bile rise in your throat. You're not stable, you're human. And humans aren't meant to be contained like this, suspended in perfect, sterile oblivion. You kick out, a sudden, explosive burst of energy, ignoring the gentle counterpressure. Your foot connects with the curving wall above you, a dull thud, echoing unnaturally in the muffled space. The force isn't enough to damage anything, but it sends a jolt through your leg, a spark of pain that feels wonderfully, defiantly 2020 Geel. Physical agitation detected, the alien notes. A slight increase in the hum's frequency. The only response. Inefficient. Data indicates an increase in neural stressors. Explain. You push yourself against the invisible field, straining, testing its limits, feeling the subtle resistance. Explain. That you pant, your voice a desperate raw rasp against the sterile quiet. I'll explain. This isn't stability. This is a cage. And I'm not a specimen that just lies down and accepts it. You twist, pushing with your hands and feet, trying to find a weak point, a seam, anything to disrupt the seamless perfection. You might be floating in a lifeless womb, a sterile prison light years from home, but you're not dead. Not yet. And a human, even a trapped one, will always find a way to claw its way out, even if it's just by making a damn fuss. The hum is your new baseline. It's always there. A low, resonant thrumming in the marrow of your bones. a constant reminder of where you are. But now, it's not just a feeling. It's a sound you can almost hear with your teeth, a deep, pervasive note that vibrates through the very structure of this impossible ship. You push against it, against the invisible field that holds you suspended. Your fingers splay wide, desperately seeking purchase, some rough edge, a seam, anything familiar to grab onto. But there's nothing. Only the unyielding, unfeeling smoothness of the wall. It's like trying to grip polished glass, only thicker, harder, colder. Your fingernails scrape, making no mark, producing no sound, just a faint internal friction against the perfect surface. You press your entire palm against it, feeling the seamless curve that stretches away in every direction. It's not just smooth. It's asterisk fluid, a surface that seems to flow from wall to ceiling to floor without interruption, without a single line or junction. There are no corners here, no angles, just endless, bland perfection under that soft, uniform white light. It's a design that screams efficiency, but also utter, clinical contempt for anything that needs texture, needs variation, needs time's imperfection, knives. Frustration burns in your gut, hot and sharp. You push harder, gritting your teeth, every muscle straining, trying to find a weak point, a vulnerability in this alien perfection. You claw at it, pound your fist against it, a dull thud against the omnipresent hum. It doesn't even reverberate. The wall simply absorbs the impact, an indifferent, silent witness. It feels like punching a mountain made of pure, unblemished obsidian. The alien's mental voice is a cool whisper, completely unperturbed by your struggle. Subject 7, ALPHA 9. Physical exertion is ineffective against structural integrity. Continued attempts are illogical. Illogical? You pant, your breath coming in ragged gasps, your voice raw. You press your forehead against the cool, smooth surface, closing your eyes, picturing the rough bark of a tree, the jagged edge of a rock, the uneven brick of a familiar wall. Anything but this sterile, alien blandness. It's illogical to just give up. It's illogical to just lie here and rot in your perfect, smooth cage. You force yourself to open your eyes, staring at your own distorted reflection in the curving surface, your face twisted with effort and stubborn refusal. The alien pauses, a flicker of its analytical gaze sweeping over you. The parameters of this chamber are optimized for your biological preservation. Resistance introduces variables that are non-optimal for data acquisition. Good, you hiss, a bitter laugh escaping your throat. Because I'm all about non-optimal. You want to study me? You want data? Then you're going to get a human who fights, who scratches, who leaves marks. Even if it's just in your perfect sterile data logs. You try again, kicking out, then scraping your feet against the surface, trying to disrupt its seamlessness. You might not be able to break it, but you can certainly make a racket. You can make it messy sums they wanted clean, contained. You'd give them chaos. Because sometimes, a human's only weapon against unfeeling perfection is to be perfectly, stubbornly, magnificently imperfect. It starts subtly. A faint tingle deep beneath your skin, like tiny pins and needles waking up nerves you didn't even know you had. It's not painful, not yet, but profoundly unsettling. You try to scratch it, but it's not on the surface. It's asterisk inside, a spreading warmth that feels alien, invasive, blooming in your chest, then your gut, tracing a path through your bloodstream, through your very organs. Your heartbeat, already a frantic drum, now feels like it's resonating with an external pulse, an echo that isn't your own. The air in the sterile chamber remains still, the hum constant, but a new pressure builds in your head. It's not the mental voice speaking. Not yet. It's more like a vast cold lens is focusing through you, meticulously examining every cell, every synapse, every biochemical reaction happening within your body. You feel transparent, as if your skin, muscle, and bone have vanished, leaving only a shimmering, complex network of internal processes laid bare for observation. A prickling sensation runs along your spine, a deep-seated instinct screaming that something fundamentally private is being violated. Then the alien's mental voice breaks through, precise and chillingly clinical, layered over the internal hum. Subject 7, ALPHA 9. Phase 6, Biological Core Scan. Excellent tissue integrity. Highly adaptable metabolism. observing unique mitochondrial mutations post-terrestrial removal. Fascinating. The last word, stretched slightly, carries a faint resonance of its own surprise, even in its emotionless delivery. Fascinating. The word sears through you. They're not just looking at your skin or your mind anymore. They're looking at your DNA, at the very blueprint of what makes you you. You close your eyes, clenching your fists, a fresh wave of indignity washing over you. This isn't just an invasion. It's a profound personal theft. They're stealing the most intimate secrets of your biology, secrets you didn't even know you possessed. You feel a strange phantom ache in your bones, as if their invisible gaze is chilling you from the inside out. You try to focus, to exert some kind of internal will. Can you hide anything? Can you stop your heart from beating just a little slower, or speed up your breath? It's a ludicrous thought, a desperate, futile attempt, but the instinct to protect yourself, even your cellular self, is overwhelming. You focus on the memory of the sun on your face, hot and real, trying to conjure a warmth that can push back against the internal cold, the alien probe. You remember the taste of your own blood, the sharp, undeniable taste of asterisk life, unique to you. Neural pathways indicate attempt at conscious biological obfuscation, the alien states, its voice slightly more pronounced now. Analysis indicates low probability of success. Biological systems are not subject to direct volitional control for such complex internal processes. Low probability. You open your eyes, staring into the seamless curving wall of your prison. Maybe you can't control your cells, but you can certainly control your defiance. You can feel the scrutiny, the cold scientific eyes dissecting your every internal function. But inside that complex, messy, resilient human body, something fierce and untamed still burns. They can read your cells, but they can't read your will. And that, you realize, is a secret they'll never truly uncover. Not from within. The omnipresent hum has shifted again. It's not just a vibration in your teeth or bones anymore. Now, it feels like a cold, phantom finger tracing the length of your spine, but from to difference within you. A chilling, ethereal touch that sends shivers through your nervous system, a sensation that defies explanation, yet feels terrifyingly real. It isn't painful, no sharp prick or burning heat. It's far more insidious. It's the chilling awareness of being utterly transparent, your deepest, most primal biological processes laid bare for an alien mind to sift through. You feel a strange, hollow echo in your chest, a sense of intrusion into the very core of your being. It's like a ghostly hand reaching in, gently, precisely, to prod at your adrenal glands, to brush against the frantic thump of your heart, to sense the churn in your gut. Every physiological response, every unconscious reflex, every chemical cascade that defines your living, breathing self is now under an unfeeling alien microscope. You try to clench your stomach, to hold your breath, to somehow shrink inward, to deny this invasive gaze, but you can't. Your body, your intricate, messy, miraculous human body, is an open book. The alien's mental voice descends, calm and analytical, a cold whisper in the exposed landscape of your mind. Subject 7ALPHA9. Continued elevated levels of cortisol and adrenaline. Primary hormonal markers for fear, OR, stress, response. Analysis indicates significant bioenergetic waste. It pauses, and you feel that ghostly touch move, a shift in its internal focus, zeroing in on your limbic system, on the very seat of your emotions. This persistent physiological state is inefficient, an evolutionary disadvantage for species requiring optimal resource allocation. Inefficient. Waste. The words spark a sudden, hot fury in your chest, momentarily overriding the chilling sense of exposure. They don't understand. They can't. You might be a walking biological anomaly to them, but you're alive. Waste? You rasp, pushing the word out against the invisible scrutiny. You think fear is a waste? You think stress is inefficient? You push back, not with physical force, but with the sheer undeniable truth of human experience. You remember the adrenaline surge when you almost missed a step, the fear that saved you from a real fall, the stress that pushed you to meet a deadline, to achieve something impossible. It's what keeps us moving, you almost shout, your voice cracking with the effort. What keeps us fighting? What keeps us from lying down and becoming another efficient specimen in your sterile collection? You feel the alien's ghostly touch withdraw slightly, a tiny ripple in the cold, internal sensation. Not because you heard it, but because you injected something utterly foreign into its pristine data stream. Purpose born from struggle. They can dissect your biology, but they'll never understand the defiant heart beating within it. Not with all their scans. Not with all their logic. The first sensation is a faint, sweet tang on your tongue. Not a taste you recognize, but one that immediately triggers a physiological response. Your salivary glands activate, your stomach rumbles with a hollow ache. You realize, with a sudden, sharp pang, how truly hungry you are. Not just the gnawing emptiness, but a deep, pervasive weakness that has settled into your bones. You open your eyes, and there it is, a small, smooth, pearlescent sphere, floating effortlessly in the air just inches from your face. It glows with its own soft internal light, like a tiny, perfect moon. You reach for it, cautiously, your fingers brushing against its cool, resilient surface. It yields slightly, like firm jelly, then bounces back. No texture, no scent, just a clean, faint sweetness that promises sustenance. You bring it to your lips, a primal instinct overriding your apprehension. It's soft, incredibly so, dissolving almost instantly on your tongue, releasing a burst of concentrated, complex flavors that you can't quite place. Sweet, savory, earthy, metallic, all at once, without a distinct identity. It fills your mouth, slides down your throat, and immediately the weakness begins to recede. Your body absorbs it with an alarming efficiency. But then, the emptiness returns. Not the physical hunger, which is sated, but a profound emotional void. This isn't food. It's sustenance. A biological fuel. There's no memory attached to it. No grandmother's cooking. No shared meal with friends. No comfort of a familiar dish. It has no history. No story. It's just calories. And that, in its sterile perfection, is terrifying. You can feel the alien's presence in your mind. A cold, analytical observation of your intake. Nutrient sphere composition, optimal for Subject 7, Alpha 9's metabolic requirements. Assimilation rate, high. Biological efficiency, maximized. You swallow the last of the dissolved sphere, the phantom sweetness lingering on your tongue, a hollow echo. Your stomach feels full, your muscles infused with a renewed, almost artificial energy, but your mind screams for more. Not more spheres, but more flavor in flavor. More experience. You remember the satisfying crunch of an apple, the messy joy of a burger, the rich aroma of coffee. Simple, imperfect, human, nasa things. This alien sustenance leaves you feeling colder, emptier than before. Another sphere materializes, silently, just as perfect as the last. You stare at it, a profound sense of loss washing over you. They can feed your body, keep it running with perfect efficiency. But they can't feed your soul. They can't replace the messy, illogical, deeply meaningful act of human eating. You push the sphere away, gently but firmly. It drifts back, passively, an unfeeling, perfect offering. Subject 7, ALPHA9, rejects further optimal nutrient intake. Analysis of reasoning. Insufficient data. Explain. The alien's voice is devoid of anger. Only a detached demand for information. You look at the gleaming obsidian walls of your prison, at the silently hovering sphere, and a fierce, stubborn defiance hardens your gaze. It's not food, you growl, your voice raw with frustrated emotion. It's just fuel. And I'm not a machine. I'm not running on your numbers. You remember a picnic in the park, a simple sandwich tasting like pure freedom. You remember the shared laughter. You remember Earth. And that memory, that craving for something real, something imperfect, something human, is far more nourishing than anything they can create. They can give you perfect fuel, but they'll never understand the hunger for a meal. The next sensation is warmth. Not the sudden, invasive heat from a probe, but a pervasive, enveloping embrace that seems to rise from the floor, from the walls, from the very air around you. It's a perfect, consistent warmth, neither too hot nor too cold, perfectly calibrated to your body's ideal temperature. You feel your muscles relax, the residual tension from your earlier struggles easing. A subtle drowsiness creeps in, a deep sense of physical contentment that tugs at your eyelids, inviting you to simply drift, to surrender to the pervasive calm. But there's no comfort in it. Only a profound, chilling lack. This warmth has no source, no flickering fire, no sun on your skin, no other body pressed close. It's an artificial, controlled warmth, devoid of the human connections that give true warmth its meaning. It's the warmth of a perfectly functioning incubator, not a home. It feels alien, clinical, oppressive in its very perfection. Your skin prickles, not from cold, but from an almost instinctual rejection of this simulated solace. The alien's mental voice, soft as the warmth itself, flows into your mind. Subject 7ALPHA9. Thermal regulation, optimized. Atmospheric humidity calibrated. All external stimuli adjusted for maximized biological preservation. Attempting to induce rest state. Rest state. They want you to sleep, to simply exist, perfectly preserved, while they probe and analyze. The thought jolts you, shocking away the encroaching drowsiness. They are trying to lull you into submission, to disarm your vigilance with this insidious unearned tranquility. You force your eyes open, fighting the heavy drag, scanning the seamless, glowing curves of the chamber. This perfect, sterile environment designed for your preservation feels more like a tomb. You try to move, to shake off the seductive warmth, to create some friction, some imperfection. Your limbs feel heavy, resistant, but you force them to obey. You push against the invisible field, a renewed surge of defiance countering the artificial serenity. Your breath comes a little faster, a little shallower, disrupting the perfect rhythm your body was trying to adopt. You scrape your bare feet against the invisible floor, a tiny, defiant protest against the unfeeling smoothness. Increased metabolic activity detected, the alien observes, its voice flat, analytical, rest state induction compromised, emotional variables increasing. It almost sounds perplexed. Good. You grit your teeth, pushing back against the encroaching calm. They don't understand that for a human, true comfort isn't just about optimal temperature or humidity. It's about connection, about struggle, about Timocles choice. And you refuse to choose their perfectly preserved, perfectly sterile, perfectly empty version of peace. This warmth, this false sense of safety feels more dangerous than any cold steel. Because a warmth without comfort is just another way to freeze your soul. You remember the warmth of a mug of hot tea on a cold day. The warmth of a hug. The real, messy, imperfect warmth of life. And that's a warmth you'll fight for. It hits you like a physical blow. Not a smell you consciously recall, but one that instantly bypasses your brain and slams directly into your oldest, most primal memories. Rain. That sharp, clean scent of water hitting dry, hot asphalt, mingling with the faint, metallic tang of ozone right after a summer storm. It floods your nostrils, dense and overwhelming, cutting through the sterile hum of the chamber like a knife through butter. Your eyes sting, not from irritation, but from a sudden, excruciating rush of homesickness, so profound it makes your chest ache. You gasp, a choked, desperate sound, your fingers clenching into fists against the perfectly smooth, unfeeling surface beneath you. You can almost feel the cool drops on your skin, hear the distant rumble of thunder, the way the air used to feel thick and alive after a downpour. It's so potent, so real, that for a fleeting, agonizing second you forget where you are. You forget the alien, the ship, the endless, star-strewn void. You are simply Sogus Sully Bar, standing on damp pavement, breathing in the scent of your world. Then, the insidious detail. It's too pure, too isolated. There's no damp earth, no blooming jasmine, no distant exhaust fumes that usually accompany that specific rain-on-asphalt smell. It's just the raw, distilled essence, perfect and singular, existing without context. It's like a song played beautifully, but in an empty room, without the echo, without the crowd, without the life that gives it meaning. It's a memory, perfectly rendered, but utterly sterile. And the realization cuts deeper than any physical pain. The alien's mental voice enters your mind, a cold, analytical observation overlaid on your profound sensory experience. Subject 7, ALPHA9. Phase 7. Environmental simulation, olfactory parameters. Terrestrial data point, rain on asphalt, engaged. Neural responses indicate high emotional amplitude. Efficiency rating, 98.7%. 98.7%. They even put a number on your longing. The cold, scientific assessment shatters the fragile illusion of home. You push yourself upright, your body trembling, not from weakness, but from a burning, desperate fury. They think they can bottle up your home, distill your memories, and feed them back to you as a controlled experiment. They think they can reduce the messy, complex, beautiful truth of your world to a data point. It's not real, you whisper, the words raw, tearing at your throat. It's not real. It's just a ghost. The scent still fills your senses, heartbreakingly beautiful, but now infused with the bitter taste of betrayal. You can almost feel the alien's detached gaze, attempting to understand your rejection. It had provided the optimal stimulus, yet you were recoiling. The simulation is a precise replication of recorded atmospheric and molecular data. Its realism is quantitatively verifiable, the alien asserts, its voice puzzled. Your rejection is illogical. You glare at the seamless wall, knowing the alien's full, segmented form is somewhere observing, dissecting. Logic has nothing to do with it, you shout, your voice echoing with a fierce, primal grief. You remember a specific moment, standing in that rain, laughing with someone you loved, the cold drops on your face, the smell of their wet hair. That was real. This is just an echo. A very convincing, utterly hollow echo. You can perfectly replicate the smell of rain, but you'll never, ever replicate what it means. You take a deep, shuddering breath, filling your lungs with the artificial scent, and then you spit, a defiant, raw refusal of their perfect, empty gift. They gave you a taste of home, and all they did was remind you what you lost, and what you would burn the universe down to get back. A fresh wave of warmth washes over you. But this time, it's accompanied by a startling new sensation. Your back, which moments ago felt the unyielding smoothness of the chamber wall, now presses against something entirely different. Rough, uneven, gnarled, with a texture that shifts and deepens, an intricate pattern of ridges and grooves. You don't need to open your eyes to know it. It's bark. The rough, comforting bark of a tree. A gasp escapes your lips, ragged and involuntary. Your fingers, still subconsciously clenching from the last simulation, instinctively splay out, dragging across the surface. The sensation is incredibly potent, overwhelmingly real. You feel the tiny, sharp edges of dried lichen, the subtle give of softer wood beneath the tougher outer layer, the cool, living dampness of moss in a crevice. It's a sensory shock, pulling you fully, completely, into a memory so vivid it makes your stomach clench with desperate longing. You can almost smell the earth, the green leaves, the faint, sweet sap. For a blissful, heart-wrenching moment, you are sitting against a tree, home, safe. Then, the flaw, the awful, insidious perfection. You run your hand over another section of bark, then another, searching for something, anything, that feels truly random. A broken branch, a deep gouge from an animal, a patch of peeling rot. But there's nothing. Every knot, every fissure, every subtle variation in texture is perfectly rendered, uniformly distributed. Too even, too symmetrical. It's a flawless simulation of Asterix bark, but not the flawed, messy reality of a tree. It feels like a photograph brought to life, but lacking the soul, the history, the unpredictable imperfections of nature itself. The alien's mental voice, devoid of surprise, dissects your reaction. Subject 7, ALPHA9. Phase 8. Environmental simulation, tactile parameters. Terrestrial data point, tree bark, engaged. Neural responses indicate initial relaxation, followed by elevated stressors. Efficiency rating, 99.1%. Its tone is almost clinical, as if your internal turmoil is just another data point. You push yourself away from the bark, a raw cry of frustration tearing from your throat. The familiar cold smoothness of the chamber wall reasserts itself, a jarring return to reality, almost a relief from the cruel illusion. Your palms still tingle with the ghost of that perfect artificial roughness. It's not real, you yell, your voice echoing off the seamless surfaces. It's a lie. Where's the insect bite? Where's the chipped paint? Where's the bloody splinter? You stare at the point where the bark had been, a fierce, burning anger replacing the longing. The alien's presence is a quiet hum of observation. The inclusion of imperfections or damage was deemed statistically irrelevant for core tactile data acquisition. Your preference for degradation is noted for future iterations. Degradation. They called it degradation. Your teeth clench. It's not degradation, you insufferable soulless thing. You snarl, pushing yourself back against the real, cold wall, welcoming its truth. It's asterisk life. It's what makes it real, it's the story. And you can't simulate that with all your perfect data. You think you can give me a touch of home? All you did was remind me how much I hate your perfect, empty prison. They gave you a flawless imitation, but all it did was deepen your desperate hunger for the perfectly imperfect reality of Earth. And you knew, with a fierce certainty, that you'd rather have a single, real splinter than 1,000 perfect simulations. The sterile hum vanishes, ripped away by a sudden violent assault of sound and sensation. Wind, a raw, howling gale that screams past your ears, tearing at your hair, whipping it across your face. Then, the deluge. Cold. Shockingly, brutally cold. Thousands of needles, sharp and stinging, slam into your exposed skin, plastering your clothes to your body in an instant. It's rain. Real rain. Not the imagined, isolated scent, but a full-body immersion. A chaotic, undeniable force that takes your breath away. You gasp, a choked sound as the frigid water fills your mouth, stings your eyes. You flail, disoriented by the sheer force, the sudden, overwhelming wetness. You can't see, can barely hear over the roaring wind and the drumming downpour. Your muscles seize up from the cold, a deep, painful ache setting in almost immediately. Your body screams in protest, every nerve ending shocked by the brutal onslaught. It's chaotic, it's painful, and it's undeniably gloriously real. Your feet suddenly find purchase on solid ground, rough and uneven beneath your bare soles, scraping against unseen pebbles and cold, gritty earth. You stumble, arms flailing, falling to your knees in what feels like thick, cold mud. The ground squelches beneath you, wet and yielding, the scent of damp soil rising to meet the rain, mingling with the sharp, clean smell of ozone and wet leaves. It's overwhelming, a full-spectrum sensory explosion that floods your senses, exhilarating and terrifying all at once. The alien's mental voice is a faint, almost distant echo against the roaring storm, tinged with a new note, something akin to alarm. Subject 7, ALPHA9. Phase 9. Dynamic Environmental Stress Test. Simulation parameters at extreme. Monitoring for compliance. Compliance. The word is swallowed by the wind, by the sheer, unbridled chaos of the storm. You push yourself up, shakily, tasting mud and rain on your lips, feeling the incredible chill seep into your bones. But beneath the pain, beneath the fear, a primal spark ignites. This isn't a simulation anymore. This feels too real. The biting wind, the icy drops, the desperate battle to simply stand against it all. This is the raw, beautiful brutality of your home planet. And you are asterisk in it. You throw your head back, letting the rain lash against your face, washing away the lingering traces of the sterile prison. You taste the salt of your own tears mingling with the cold rainwater, indistinguishable, gloriously human. You try to laugh, a wild, half-mad sound ripped away by the wind, but the feeling is pure, unadulterated defiance. They wanted to stress test you. They wanted to push you to the breaking point. This isn't a test. You scream into the storm, the words ripped from your lungs, raw and powerful. This is asterisk life. This is what makes us strong. This is what makes us us. Your body aches, your teeth chatter, your hands are numb, but your heart beats with a fierce, unwavering rhythm. This violent shock of rain on your skin, the brutal kiss of the wind, the cold, yielding mud beneath your feet, it's a terrifying reunion. And you embrace it every painful, exhilarating, terrifying second. They brought you to a storm. And storms, you remember, can be broken by a human who refuses to bend. The mud is a living thing. Cold. Thick. It oozes between your bare toes, sucking at your arches, threatening to pull your feet from beneath you with every stuttering step. You're on all fours now, hands plunged into the squelching, gritty earth, trying to push yourself forward. But the ground offers no solid purchase. The rain continues its relentless assault, drumming against your head, washing strands of hair into your eyes, mingling with the sweat and the sheer exhaustion. Your clothes, heavy and soaked, cling to your skin like a second, freezing layer. Every breath is a struggle, the air thick with moisture and the potent, primal scent of wet soil and decaying leaves. This isn't just a simulation anymore. This is a brutal, beautiful, undeniable reality. You push, grunt, and finally manage to haul yourself onto your knees, your teeth chattering so violently your jaw aches. Your muscles scream from the cold, from the effort, from the sheer overwhelming struggle to simply exist in this chaotic downpour. You can feel the sharp bite of tiny stones digging into your knees, the chilling cold seeping into your joints. But beneath the pain, there's a strange, fierce joy. This hurts. This is real. This is asterisk Earth. The alien's mental voice, thin and sharp against the roaring wind, slices through your thoughts. Subject 7ALPHA9. Biological markers for hypothermia detected. Neural pathways indicate elevated pain response. Continued physical exertion is deleterious to optimal preservation. Deleterious. Preservation. The words spark a fresh wave of defiant anger. They still see you as a specimen, a set of data points, even when you're elbow deep in the glorious, messy reality of your own world. You cough, a harsh, ragged sound that tastes like mud and rainwater. You push a hand through your wet hair, trying to clear your eyes, and look up at the churning gray sky. The rain is a solid sheet, the wind a relentless shove, but you're still standing or kneeling in it. This isn't deleterious, you gasp, your voice raw, barely audible over the storm, but you force the words out. This is asterisk living. This is what builds us. This is what saves us. You push harder, scrambling for purchase on the slippery slope, your bare feet slipping, then digging in, feeling the coarse grains of sand and earth beneath them. The sheer effort, the primal struggle against the elements, is a powerful antidote to the sterile perfection of their prison. This mud, this rain, this burning cold. It's a welcome, a brutal, painful welcome home, but the alien's presence is a constant cold weight. Even amidst the chaos of the storm, you feel its unblinking gaze, analyzing your every shiver, every grunt, every desperate attempt to move. It's a profound sense of alienation, even here, surrounded by the undeniable truth of your planet. You are asterisk on Earth, or an impossibly realistic recreation of it, but you are still a prisoner, still observed, still a subject. The joy of the sensation is tinged with the bitter taste of captivity. You can feel the cold seeping deeper into your bones, threatening to numb you, to make you give in, but you clench your jaw, a stubborn human refusal burning in your gut. They gave you Earth's muddy welcome. Now you'd show them Earth's muddy resolve. They might have brought you here, but they couldn't break you here, not while you could still feel the mud between your toes. The taste is the first thing. Not the immediate, overwhelming rush of rain and mud from before, but something insidious, lingering. Metallic, not the coppery tang of blood, but a cold, chemical metallic, like licking a battery or a fresh-forged piece of steel. It's thick, coating your tongue, settling into the back of your throat, persistent and deeply unsettling. You swallow, trying to dislodge it, but it's fused there, a permanent, unwelcome guest. You open your eyes. The sterile, curving white walls of the containment chamber are back, glowing with that soft, shadowless light. The low, constant hum vibrates through your body, a familiar enemy. You're suspended again, gently, by the invisible fields, your skin still damp, still faintly chilled from the storm that had been so brutally, beautifully real. But that metallic taste, it's new. It wasn't there before the storm, or even during it. It feels engineered. You try to run your tongue over your teeth to scrape the taste away, but it's not on the surface. It feels deeper, almost since for your tongue, a fundamental alteration. Panic, cold and sharp, tries to claw its way up your throat, mingling with the metallic tang, making you gag. What have they done? What did they do while you were fighting the storm, while you were reveling in the simulated chaos? Your stomach clenches, a wave of profound nausea washing over you. The alien's mental voice slides into your mind, calm and clinical, completely unaware of the revulsion curdling in your gut. Subject 7ALPHA9. Biological systems reacting as predicted. Phase 10. Environmental adaptation protocol initiated. Olfactory and gustatory sensors have been modified for optimal resource utilization. Modified. The word hits you like a physical blow, colder and harder than the metallic taste on your tongue. They changed you. Without your consent. Without even a warning. Optimal resource utilization? You're not a resource. You're human. And they have no right to tinker with your very senses. You try to scream, a guttural sound that's swallowed by the omnipresent hum, a raw, desperate protest against the violation. You claw at your tongue, as if you could physically rip the foreign taste, the alien modification from your flesh. Irregular neural activity detected. The alien notes, its voice a flat observation. Subject exhibits unexpected distress at optimized gustatory enhancement. Explain emotional data. Emotional data. Your emotions aren't data, you alien monstrosity. They're yours. You glare at the seamless wall, your eyes burning with a sudden, furious resolve. They altered you. They reached into the most primal, intimate parts of your being. But this taste, this metallic residue, is now part of you. And if it's part of you, you can use it. You can adapt it. You can make it yours. They wanted to optimize you, to control your responses. But they underestimated a human's capacity to turn even the most invasive violation into a weapon. They gave you a changed tongue. Now you'd show them what a human with a changed tongue can really do. The metallic taste is a constant now, a bitter, cold tang that clings to your tongue, an unwelcome ghost in your mouth. It feels heavier, somehow, denser, almost solid, muffling your other senses. You try to clear your throat, a small, involuntary movement, but the sound that comes out is dry, rasping, like paper tearing. It's not your voice. It's barely a whisper, a hollow echo that dies instantly in the sterile air of the chamber. You try again. You want to yell. You want to scream all the rage, the fear, the defiance that burns in your gut. You form the words, push them past the metallic coating on your tongue, force air from your lungs. But nothing. The sound simply isn't there. Or it's so distorted, so muted by this pervasive new internal sensation, that it's unrecognizable. A dull, low thrum, like something vibrating deep within your vocal cords, replaces any actual speech. You can feel your throat working, your lips moving, but the world hears only silence or a meaningless hum. Panic, raw and unadulterated, rips through you. They didn't just change your tongue, they changed your voice. They muted your ability to communicate, to share, to warn. Your hands fly to your throat, fingers pressing hard against your larynx, desperately trying to feel some vibration, some familiar hum of human speech. But there's only that alien thrum, a silent internal echo. You are silenced. The alien's mental voice, detached and unwavering, enters your mind, a chilling counterpoint to your internal scream. Subject 7, ALPHA9. Vocalization patterns detected, but not compatible with terrestrial linguistic structures. Protocol, successful. Analyzing reaction to communication impairment. Communication impairment. They call it that. They call it a successful protocol. You recoil from the clinical assessment. A profound aching despair seizing you. They want you to feel this. To break you with the weight of your own unheard story. You have seen wonders, terrors, a glimpse of true cosmic horror and beauty. You have memories of Earth, of love, of laughter. You have a warning, a desperate burning need to tell the galaxy about humanity, about its resilience, its defiance. And now you can't. The story is trapped, a heavy, suffocating weight behind your silenced lips. You collapse against the invisible field, your body trembling, a silent sob racking your chest. The metallic taste in your mouth feels like ashes, like the dust of 1,000 forgotten tales. They took your home. They tried to take your mind. They altered your senses. And now they've taken your voice. It's a violation deeper than anything before, a robbery of your very essence as a social storytelling creature. Emotional output remains at elevated levels, despite vocal suppression, the alien notes, a faint, almost imperceptible shift in its tone. A hint of something resembling frustration. Hypothesis. The narrative function is not dependent on external vocalization for internal processing. Anomaly. Anomaly. You lift your head, staring at the seamless curving walls of your prison, at the unseen alien. They think they've silenced you. They think they've cut off your story. But a human story isn't just words. It's a feeling. It's a memory. It's a burning, stubborn truth that lives inside, even when no one can hear it. You might not be able to scream, but you can still remember. You can still plot. You can still be success. And that, you realize, is a story they will never, ever be able to mute. It's a heavy weight, yes. But it's your flex weight, and you will carry it every silent, defiant step of the way.